Hey, Tom, 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 go and tell your mother the show's about to start. Go on. And we've got a special guest tonight. You might know him.
Do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? Hope you're looking forward to a great weekend. If you are not working, that'll be a wonderful time. Maybe you're going to go and do a little bit of fishing. I know some folks who are planning to throw a line in this weekend. Whether or not they catch anything will be a completely different story, but we'll wait and see. So if you're heading out over the weekend, obviously be safe, but enjoy yourself. Get together with family and friends. It's tough times, and we've got to get together, give each other a bit of fellowship, and let everybody know that we do care about them. We're not just all about ourselves. So it's going to be one of those weekends. I've got a feeling it's going to be one of those fortnights coming up, and possibly a couple of months of it. There is all sorts of weird news going on in the world. But tonight we're going to talk, well, maybe something that is verging on medbed technology. So I'm looking forward to being able to bring you some news about that very shortly. Yes, as Aussie Sue has said, please remember to give us the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Now, depending on what channel you are watching, we've got 4 YouTube channels, an X, a Rumble, a couple of other ones that we go off to as well. But we are trying to get everybody back to our main YouTube channel now that YouTube are a little bit more predictable in not taking us off for mentioning things like Convid. And we're trying to consolidate our audience into one channel so that I can stop having to stream out to 4 YouTube channels, and we may be able to put some other things in the mix there. So if you can just check which channel you are subscribed to, we would really appreciate it. A main channel is youtube.com/the @ VOF, and you'll be able to tell that you've got the right one because it'll have that little head symbol sitting there on the webpage. If you can subscribe to that channel, eternally grateful. And we look forward to seeing you there soon. Aussie Sue was first in the house tonight, so God love you. I hope things are going well out there on the island. The lovely Connie is in the house for a Friday night. I kind of expected her to be there. There's a good-looking bloke on tonight, and I'm not referring to me, so she's always in and around good-looking blokes. The lovely Deb Shippard is in the house too. Great to have you on board. G'day, Addy. And What That, I think, is in the house as well. I saw his name pop up. Trust you're doing well. He's had the foot wrapped. I was speaking to him today. He's had new bandages put on there and is pretty happy with the lady who does all that sort of stuff for him. We are going to catch up for a lunch with What That. I did mention this last night and suggest that it might be this weekend. It won't be this weekend. It will be next weekend, though. Not this one coming, but next weekend. It'll most likely be on the Saturday. At this stage, I haven't got the date. Maybe I can bring that up before I go and get highly technical. Friday, it'll be the 30th of May. There you go, Saturday the 30th. And the venue that we are talking about doing it is the Sundowner, which is at Caboolture. Well, to be more precise, it's at the Bribie Island Caboolture Turnoff. Big pub right on the corner beside the McDonald's there, if you know it all. So we're thinking about the lunch there next Saturday, and I guess 12:30. We'll aim for a time. It's a big place, got a lot of places you can sit down. Meals are very reasonable and apparently extremely generous. So we'll go and give a review, shall we? That'll be not tomorrow, but next week. That is the plan. I know that big fella Clayton is keen to come. I know that Margie Sedgman is keen to come, and who knows, we might be able to get Sunflower to come for a drive with Margie down the road. Margie will be driving, though, be aware. Although Margie's quite happy to drive by herself. So if that's how it comes out, but with a bit of luck, we'll be able to get a few of our Sunshine Coast crew together and a few of our Brisbane crew who might like to come up for the afternoon and sit down and share a few stories and possibly blow a harp or two, which is much better than a seal, but you know the old joke, don't you? All right, let me introduce this half for our Friday night. It's lovely to have him awake and with us. How are you, big fella?
Yeah, well, awake, as you said, right? If you want to catch me, try about 4 o'clock in the morning. So,
yes. Well, I woke up very, very early this morning for some reason, about 1:30, and I was having a bit of a struggle getting back to sleep. And I thought, I wonder if I ring. I bet you'll be awake. So I don't know. You probably would have been just heading to bed, I would say, judging by
yeah,
the time.
I did actually go to bed early last night. So, yes, it was like 2:30.
Whew, well, there you go. I would have got a bit of a conversation out of you at any rate. Got to say hello to Narelle, who's joining us for the first time today. And Connie's there welcoming Narelle to the family. Lovely to have you with us, Narelle. The more the merrier, we say. And who knows, you might be a cruiser, you might be a caravaner. We've got all sorts of little get-togethers with our family where we get together, including, like I say, next weekend. And Connie and Alan, you never know, they might turn up and come for lunch as well. There is a bikie amongst us in that family. So if it's a nice day, you might take the bike for a ride. You never know. So you haven't had a bad week, Vince?
Fairly quiet, just watching all the news on the budget and the bullshit that's out there about that and the various things to do with trusts and One Nation's recent foray into the gas industry, which actually, when I listen to the plan, I actually like it. You know,
I haven't heard the plan, to be honest. I've been doing other things. Do you want to outline it quickly?
Well, quickly enough, it's about joining forces with businesses, like even if they're overseas businesses, to do exploration of gas outside the shores of Australia, because inside the shores of Australia are relative to the States. But it's about us having a 30% share in that business as Australians, and the profits come back to a dedicated fund. So, I mean, what business is going to go in deliberately to go bankrupt? Not many. So I think it's a good idea. Right?
I do too. But we had a future fund there at one stage that had $400 million odd dollars, would have got us out of the deficit that we were in at the time. Labor got in and spent it all. The old adage was, if you wanted a saving government, you elected the Liberals. If you wanted a spending government, you elected Labor. I don't think that changes. So what would safeguard that sort of future fund investment, which I agree would be a fabulous thing for the country, but what would safeguard that future fund from being sold off by Labor or Liberal, because the uni party are the same? What would stop that happening in the future, do you think?
Well, I think you would put into the legislation that if this particular business or whatever and this future fund, you would say that it could only, alterations to access to getting to these funds could only be done so with a vote from all Australians. So you'd make it a referendum vote before they were to be able to access those funds for any other means than what is specified in the legislation.
Yep,
that's how
I would agree. Charlie Brown is quite right here. We used to have a lot of stuff that got the government money without tax as such, and the Commonwealth Bank was lead amongst them. Absolutely. I want to say so was the Postmaster General's office. Wasn't the PMG before it became AusPost? It was government owned, and I mean, obviously the post model has changed now. Nobody really sends letters anymore, but there is an awful lot of parcel delivery and that sort of thing that goes on. So it hasn't changed, and it's still very profitable. I think they're making multiple tens of millions a year, I think, still. but that's involved with a lot of the contracts that they do. Daniel, nobody ever voted corporate laws. There's nothing in the box. Four corner, yes. They put the dead in the box, yes. Belligerent governments, yeah, that is our problem. Now, I've been sent.
You've got to remember, though, that this is going to come under contract law.
Yes.
Right, because it's going to be a contract and a shareholder. So the fund that it goes into, I can't remember exactly what she called it, but if it's legislated the right way and if it's got the relevant safeguards in it, it could be a boom, because the whole idea of this is it goes back to the Australian people. This fund ends up going back to the Australian people, not to the government. So, yes, I think it's well worth investigating further. But at the moment, it sounds like sounds good.
So you feel that what you're saying is One Nation's fund would disperse that 30% of revenues or royalties that came in to the people.
Yeah, supporting the Australian country, yes.
In the form of a check.
Country. Well, it might not be in a form of a check. It may be in the form of better hospitals or better whatever. It could be.
So therefore, the government will administer it then. That's what you're saying.
Well, yes, no. The fund is not managed by the government. It's going to be managed by a different group of people who are not bureaucrats. They are going to be the initial investment opportunities that the fund may invest into, like new gas or new oil or new uranium or whatever. They invest that money into with businesses, and then the profits that come back then get distributed out via that organisation to A, new projects, B, back into the Australians' hands, and it could be in forms of new infrastructure that takes the load off electricity, all that sort of stuff. There's some finer parts that need to be dealt with, but the idea, the concept is a good concept.
Sovereign Wealth Fund, Synchronicity Show. I think the Sovereign Wealth Fund is exactly the way to set this up, and I'm pretty confident what you've described is
pretty much where they're heading.
Yeah, without the lawful speak about it. Yeah, pretty much where they're heading. So that sounds pretty good. Listen, we've prattled on a bit, and I've kept our guest waiting a little bit longer than I had hoped. Tonight, this gentleman who's joining us has just come off the cruise. He's one of our cruisers. He and his lovely wife join us every night here on the show in one form or another. And while we were cruising, I got to learn a lot more about what Alan did, or more particularly does. He's not quite retired, from what I hear. We've had a bit of a beginning, and well, we'll see how it goes. So we'd love to bring him to the stage, and we'll talk about something tonight that not a lot of people have a great deal of knowledge on, beyond if you've ever been scuba diving and got yourself in a lot of trouble and wound up in a hyperbaric chamber. Good evening, Alan. How are you, mate?
I'm really well. Yourself?
Excellent, mate. Thanks for... Oh, somebody's giving you rounds of applause. That's very good. Pushing buttons. Well done. Mate, thanks. First of all, thank you and Connie for joining us on the cruise. We had a wonderful time, and Connie, who apparently gets sick at the sight of ships, was an absolute trooper, and is happy to go on a boat again. Vince, she was taking pills, once every 4 hours or so. And I believe it was only the first night where the stabilizers weren't put out that you had to hold her hair back. Isn't that right?
I think she got caught off guard, yes, a little bit. But once we got her on track, she was good to go.
Yeah. So there you go, mate. We can sort this out for you.
I don't have anybody to hold my hair back. That's the challenge.
There's not a lot of hair to hold back.
No. Oh, the biggest thing would be combing what's left out of your beard, mate.
God.
I hope you're not eating dinner tonight, folks, at this stage. While we think about it. All right. Well, listen, we got to talking about what it was you've been doing for large parts of your life. And interestingly, another bloke on the cruise and a good friend of the show, Keith, and you got along like house on fire. Turns out you knew a few of the same blokes. You've spent a bit of time in the mines. You've you've
We
in different
spent
areas.
time on the same stomping grounds around the place. Yes.
Yeah. So we got to
Good
talk about hyperbaric chambers, and it turns out this is the kind of area that you've had a lot of experience in, particularly with putting these systems together. And I'd like to get a little bit of an understanding, given that one of our dear friends and very much an activist in this space, Wade Northhausen from Billboard Battalion, suffered a stroke at Christmas time last year. And he's still in recovery mode for it. He's trying very hard. He's getting the best therapy he can for where he is. And I was, talking to you and talking to other people, and I heard about this sort of therapy available that may help stroke victims. So clearly I had to pick up the phone and have a conversation with you. And I thought, well, let's learn about hyperbaric technology together. So can you, first of all, let people who don't know what hyperbaric technology is, can you bring us up to speed with that?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, it's been around for a long, long time, and it's only something that's recently sort of made inroads into the everyday medical professions around the world, to be quite honest. I think pretty much any country in the world you go to will have a fairly well-established hyperbaric system or governing system available to the general public. So yeah, there's nothing new about it. There's no real sort of risk involved if it's managed correctly and under the guise of medical people who understand what's required in relation to the treatments and things like that. But yeah, it's got amazing stuff that it does, and it can really be helpful in a lot of applications. And as we said, there was in America there's vastly more applications for it than there is in Australia, but we're getting there. We're slowly picking them up one by one as the medical fraternity sort of sees the real benefit of what's actually happening in the community. So that's a thing, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Charlie Brown, reach out to me, carl@vofhq.com. I'd like to get a hold of whoever is making those thermal boilers and talk to them about that. That's something that Alan might be very interested in too as well. So, Alan, we talked about it while we were away. In America and other places, there are like 80 or between 80 and 90 different ailments, if you like, different conditions that are licensed to be treated by hyperbaric means. Correct. But in Australia, not so much. We thought it was 2, but you've since discovered there has been a great leap forward in what Australia will allow now, and now there's in fact 3 things that hyperbaric technology can be used for. Can you outline what they are to begin with, and why there is this hesitation maybe here in Australia to license the other 70 odd?
Okay, so, well, we have that governing body that oversees everything medical that, has a lot to do with big pharma. So I don't need to admit much more about that, but it's getting there. There's it's the old story, isn't it? Patient cured is a patient lost. So we've got to be careful of that for that particular governing body. But no, it's all about basically understanding what the treatments can do for people in everyday life. So you talk about hyperbarics generally, it's a process that was developed in the diving industry, which we spoke about before, for treating.
I think Jacques Cousteau was involved with the whole beginnings of this, wasn't he?
Oh, it goes back to the 1600s, really.
Oh, wow.
The first hyperbaric chambers were sort of produced back then for diving applications or even treatment at depth. There was an understanding of the benefits of hyperbarics way back then, but it sort of stayed in the world of diving mainly to treat people for the bend. So obviously, if a diver goes to a depth and returns to the surface too quickly, they get nitrogen bubbles forming in the blood in the joints and muscle tissue, like taking the top off a soda bottle. Basically, get the bubbles come out really quickly. So they got to get them into a hyperbaric chamber and increase the pressure in the chamber and basically take the person back down to the depth similar to where they were when they started their dive, and then bring them back slowly over a number of hours, days sometimes.
So
in that case,
let's just talk about the diving aspect there for a minute. So my extensive diving career extends to about, an hour in a pool somewhere in Rockhampton in the mid-'80s. before going to Great Keppel Island for a 1 hour dive, buddy dive with somebody, but it was so rough. They suggested it wasn't a good day to go diving at all. But because I was with the radio station, we had to have something to talk about. They threw me over the side anyway. And so I got to scramble around. But, you know, I only went down maybe, 5 or 6 meters, maybe. It wasn't terribly deep. And I could already feel pressure, and I had to sort of equalize pressure as best I could in my ears.
That's
So
right.
what level do you have to worry about the bends? Is it a recreational dive thing, or is this a more a commercial diving aspect?
I think anything from 5 to 10 meters needs to start thinking about what you're doing, because I've heard of people getting nitrogen narcosis at those sorts of depths, feeling that they're drunk because they've gone too deep and breathing too fast and stuff like that. So you've really got to be under the guidance of your dive master to understand where you're at and what you're doing in that sort of field. But I'm not an expert on that at all. But yeah, that's as I understand it. But that's basically the machine behind where hyperbaric oxygen therapy comes from. Is that same technology there? But what we're looking at with hyperbaric oxygen therapy is something that sort of gravitated or found some traction in the early 70s in America. With the cosmetic surgery people, and obviously people were going and having their nose jobs done and their chin lifts and their face lifts and all that sort of stuff, and coming out looking like they'd been done 10 rounds with Muhammad Ali, or bruising all over their face and all that sort of stuff. So obviously bruising is damaged tissue, and what they basically do is they put them in a hyperbaric chamber, make you breathe oxygen. And what it does is it increases the flow of oxygen in the bloodstream to that damaged tissue and gets the mitochondria.
So they put a gas mix into the tent or the chamber that you are inside of that is very, very oxygen rich.
It's 100% oxygen rich.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So they basically in America fill their chambers with pure oxygen. We don't do that here in Australia because of the costs involved. But so it basically within like 50% faster healing time. So they're looking beautiful within 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks. It takes all the bruising down, gets all the inflammation down, stops the infection, and have great results. So that's basically where a lot of everybody started getting interested in it. So stemming from that in America, there's lots of different applications for hyperbaric oxygen therapy in the States. But in Australia, we see mainly it used it's been extensively used in major hospitals throughout Australia. And I think I saw a post just come up there before. One of the members of the family, a family member had treatment in a hospital. So you got, like in Brisbane, you got the Royal Brisbane, and you've got the Wesley Hospital, which have what they call multi-place chambers, where you can put multiple people in them. They also have dive recovery chambers on them as well. So if they do have a diver that has the bends, they can treat them as well. But it's mainly used for diabetic limb loss. So people with circulation issues in the feet, the hands, it increases the circulation and gets those parts of the body back living again, basically, because it's starting to die, basically, is what's starting to happen. Yeah. So had tremendous, there's basically a queue out the door with people every day having that treatment done successfully over a number of treatments. I don't know what, depending on the severity of their condition, would determine how many treatments they would have to have. But they would go into the chamber for about an hour and a half, typically go between 1 to 2 atmospheres in depth, which is 10 to 20 meters of ocean depth if you're in water. And you breathe pure oxygen for that whole time that you're in there. You may have a break onto air if they decide that you need to have a time off the pure oxygen stream, depending on how you're responding and what have you. And tremendous results for that one. There's also the other one is also for sports injury. You'll find that most of the top sports teams in Australia, and also motor racing teams like the F1 people and the supercar guys, all those sorts of people, they all have hyperbaric chambers available at the track, portable chambers for the drivers to go into. Yeah. So that's common. It's common to see that. I think Daniel Ricciardo was on the Gold Coast a few years back, where he had a prang when he was doing his F1 career, and they had him in there over every second day for 2 weeks, and he was at the next race, racing that.
Yeah,
Bolt
right.
course. So that's the other one. The
I
other,
remember Craig Lowndes years ago had a big crash at Calder and did his knee, and he was in the hyperbaric chamber, I want to say in the Alfred or the Prince Henry in Melbourne for about a fortnight and came out of it fine. Can I just ask, for divers particularly, and this is probably a question without notice in an area you know nothing about, but if you're diving, you're going to be in the...
anything once our couple got married.
If you're diving and you come up and you've got narcosis, are those dive vessels equipped with hyperbaric chambers on board, or have they got to get you back to land and then get you to somewhere that does have this? And couldn't you die in that interim process?
What generally happens is if you come up, the dive master will recognise the symptoms and get another diver to take you back down to depth until they can organise some way of transporting you. Is generally how it works. If you're able to get down to depth, that was my understanding. If not, you've got to catch a very low level flight back to land. So it's usually done in a helicopter. They don't want to take you at any altitude because that'll just make things worse. In fact, if you've if you've been diving, you're not allowed to go on an aeroplane anywhere for 24 hours after the dive. For like depressurization in an airframe, basically, can cause the same thing. But you've got to get back to a chamber. Yeah, for sure. That's the best way.
Yeah, I had an experience with that in Gladstone many years ago. I learned to fly, and as part of learning to fly, Great Keppel Island was a great place to go. It still had an open airstrip, and got my ticket, and 3 or 4 of us have gone to Great Keppel Island. 3 of them have gone diving. I haven't. I figured I've been diving, and there was other reasons for me to stay on shore. I can't remember her name, but it was a great reason to stay on shore. At any rate, we had a bit of a party. They did a dive verging on a night dive, and we partied that night, and then the next day got back in the aircraft and was about to head off when one of the dive crew came over and suggested that the 3 blokes I was about to take back to Gladstone wouldn't have survived much higher than 1,500 feet. They needed to be out of the aircraft and on the ground for another 7 or 8 hours before they were good enough to fly. So that was a bit of an eye opener at the time.
That's a thing. It's definitely a thing for sure. Yeah. So that's
why I go on ships now, Daniel. You're right.
Yeah, that's right. So, but to get back on track with what actually the therapy is what you're doing is you're breathing oxygen at pressure. And what it does is it saturates the hemoglobin in your blood with oxygen, and it also can saturate the blood plasma as well with oxygen. And what it does is it forces oxygen into damaged cells in your body through the damaged membranes where at sea level or at atmospheric pressure. That won't happen because there's simply not enough atmospheric pressure to make the oxygen go into your body. So what they do is they increase the pressure, and that forces oxygen into the damaged blood cells in your body, and that gets the mitochondria going, the ATA in the blood, in the cells, and starts them reproducing, and starts the recovery process. So it's anything to do with muscle damage or inflammation or any sort of disease. There's applications for cancer as well, but that's more guided by therapists who specialise in those areas. But cancers don't like oxygen at all. So you starve the cancer by increasing the amount of oxygen in the blood, and that gets the healthy blood cells to take dominant control over what's going on there. But I'm not a doctor. Don't ask me. No, this is not medical advice or any stretch of the imagination. It's just what I've heard. Okay, so and basically.
And I think it could be a little bit like an X39 patch. It works for a lot of people, but some people it just doesn't work for whatever reason. But you'll only know if you have a go.
That's right. The thing to remember with it too, as we were talking about earlier, is that the earlier you get onto it, the better result you'll have. So anything to do with like any sort of muscle injury, like stroke or anything to do with any condition that's traumatic. Traumatic brain injury, and particularly in America, is massive for concussion treatment. You'll find all the major football teams in America have hyperbaric straight into a hyperbaric chamber if they've got concussion, because that's
Come
bruising
straight
the
off the
brain.
field, go straight into it. Yeah.
So that has tremendous results with that sort of stuff.
We're hearing stories of hyperbaric chambers and frequency generators being put together in forms of new treatment, I guess, while you're lying there decompressing or recompressing, however it could be. You're also being bombarded with different frequencies. Have you heard or seen any of those sorts of machines?
I've heard some stories. I've not seen anything materialise yet. But yes, there's all kinds of things that are related to this type of technology. That I think there's already known applications for stem cell and the hyperbaric therapy for and basically supercharging stem cells that would normally die off in the process of being given to a patient, where the hyperbaric will assist those in getting the full benefit of having that stem cell treatment work done. So you tell me, does that go down that road of medbed or something like that? I don't know. It's all wonderful things to think about, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Who would know? Medbeds have, shown us many different forms. In fact, speaking of showing us forms, can you show us some of these hyperbaric chambers? I know that you've spent some time getting a few files together. So they do look a little bit like something straight out of Star Trek. The first version, the original, Star Trek, the original.
Yeah. Okay, so that there is what they call a peri monoplace chamber. So that'll do, I think they do two or three ATA, which is 2 or 3 atmospheres. So basically it's got a door on the right-hand end there that you can open up, and the patient just lies on a gurney and slides in and out. But the chamber itself is basically that polycarbonate, I think it's acrylic shell or tube, if you like, that you're lying inside with 2 big aluminium ends on it, with big long bolts passing through the length of it to hold it together. And yes, there's a TV up there. You can watch TV while you're lying inside there, and there's a telephone there to talk to the clinician outside who's looking after you. And that's basically the most common worldwide. And you'll put a mask. You can see the lady's holding a mask there on her lap that she's put on her face to breathe the pure oxygen, which is compressed.
But the oxygen, as you say, is going through every pore of her skin as well.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right. It becomes saturated with oxygen, basically. And that's once you've had the treatment, you get what they call like a burn time after that. So you'll have for a number of hours after you've had the treatment, you'll still continue to have the benefit of having that treatment done. So anybody having an operation, they should consider this. Maybe I strongly suggest we have family members and friends of the family who've had different issues with things and found tremendous benefit in having this treatment prior to an operation, and then post-operation as well. So then anybody who's getting a hip operation or a knee replacement or something like that, that's the place you want to be. You want to be getting one of these a couple of weeks beforehand. Get all your mitochondria supercharged, ready to take the trauma of the surgery, and then once the doctors release you to do your own thing, you get back to one of these and heal twice as fast, just like all the sports people do. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
You've travelled all over the country installing these. Is there a large private market for them? Is there are there businesses that you can look up near you where people live to make use of this at an hourly rate?
Oh yeah, definitely is. There's heaps of places you can go to. Just basically just Google hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and you'll see them come up left, right, and centre on your screen. So the best thing to do is to look at people in your local area that have some sort of like a clinician, like a physiotherapist or a what's the other ones they call the people who do sports injury type stuff. Can't think of the name of the type of person that it is, but it's you need to have make sure that they've got some sort of clinical background, and if you've got a doctor that's supportive of it as well, that's the best place to start. And then go and have some treatments and see if it suits what you're doing and whether it's a benefit to you. But there will be benefits in many different ways.
Oh, well, there you go. Silver Fox is having knee replacement next month.
Find yourself a chamber, Silver Fox.
Absolutely. Might find one South Australia, Mount Gambier, Naracoorte, or Adelaide.
All your major hospitals have them, but they tend to be on label type applications. But there's heaps of them. You know, we've got all sorts of people.
Is there a business model here for enterprising folks who might be able to afford to buy one of these things and stick it in a front room and offer treatment of a sort to people? Where are the pitfalls in doing that, Alan?
Well, you've got to. There's a fair amount of capital outlay to do this sort of stuff. That first chamber that I showed you there, they typically run out at about $250,000 for a new one of those Perry chambers. Yeah, wow. But they are supported Australia-wide, and they are a worldwide proven organisation. But you'll find clinics that are serious about what they're doing have those types of chambers in them. They can put people in them, out of them safely and continuously and repetitively treat them correctly all the time. This is the multi-place chamber that we're talking about here. This one does 6 people at a time. It's a 2-atmosphere chamber. This is one of the ones that's used for diabetic limb loss. So these people are wearing hoods. You can see the ring around their neck. Yeah. With the 2 hoses coming up, and there's a lady over on the left-hand side over there. That's sort of you can see the hood she's holding, and it's just a plastic bag basically with a acrylic type bag that clips into that hood, and you just sit there breathing pure oxygen while you're at pressure with all your mates. You can play cards, you can do all sorts of things, you know. But there's a sign in the background there.
How does that hood secure and create an airtight seal?
Well, it's at the same pressure it's at the same pressure as the chamber, so it's just basically inflating to provide air, just like you would normally.
So the nurses that are in the chamber stay in the chamber while this is happening to these people?
Absolutely, yes, they do. Yeah, for sure.
So are they subjected to the pressures as well?
They are, yes, and they're rotated. They're just breathing air, though. They're not breathing oxygen. But they're rotated under a management system to make sure that they don't have any ill effects from it being pressurised.
So they can sort of step in and step out within reason.
That chamber actually has an airlock in it as well, so if somebody had to, they could leave if they had to.
Right.
During a treatment. But the sign that person's holding up in the background there says that was the 19,000th treatment in that chamber.
Wow.
So how many people? 19,000 times 6. How many people that got treated in there? You know. So that's that's a thing.
Yeah.
So
how much oxygen did? Oh, sorry, go Vince.
So a question, the other part about doing something like this is the amount of time spent in the chambers, isn't it? It would be a significant amount of time in plus recovery time while out. Would that be correct?
Yeah, basically you go straight in and they bring you up to pressure. You'll be at pressure within 8 to 10 minutes, I would think, depending on what the protocol is for your particular treatment. And then you put you on the pure oxygen. You're breathing the pure oxygen for probably a half an hour. And then you'll have maybe a break for 5 minutes on just breathing normal air, and then you'll have another half an hour of oxygen, and then another 5-minute break, and then another half hour. Generally, 1 hour to 90 minutes is the typical treatment time. And depending on what type of ailment you have, will depend on what pressure they take you to as well. So, yeah, so 2 ATA is 10 meters of depth in normal water. So imagine if you went down to 10 meters of water. 3 ATA is 20 meters of depth. So or 2 bar if you're into pressures. But that's
so 20 meters is in the old language. That's damn near 60 feet. That's a long way down.
It's a long way down. It's a bit of pressure, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and even by commercial diving standards, that's shallow, isn't it?
Typically, yes. Yeah. It's a pressure that's easy to manage for people. They can get down to those sorts of pressures and basically be comfortable to get there easily and get the benefits of having that sort of treatment. They also have basically can just go straight air if you want to. There's benefits to be had just by breathing normal air.
Yep.
In a hyperbaric environment without the oxygen as well. So because you basically you don't increase the amount of oxygen you're having, you're just increasing the amount of exposure you have to oxygen, if you can sort of understand that by pressurizing it. They call it partial pressure stuff. So yeah, that's a thing. But
well, there you go. You learn something new every day.
They do, yeah. Here's another little one that they have. This is one you see quite common. These were built in Scotland, these ones. I don't know if you can see this one. Did that one come up?
Do you like Thomas's message?
I didn't see it. No, what did he say? Hey, Mum, Dad's
Hey, Mum. People have now been let in on the joke at the start of the show.
Yes, that's right. Running joke in this family. It's hilarious. So that's a little high ox chamber. So that's a little one-person chamber. It looks like it's not unlike an aeroplane cockpit to sit in, to be quite honest. You actually sit in the chair. It's got a nice window on the front of it you can see out. But there's a couple of these around the place that are available at the moment, second-hand, that people want to move on. They're not cheap, but we can help people get involved in those if anybody's interested in.
Is that the kind of thing that an offshore diving operation that going out to Swains for a week's diving? Is that the kind of thing that you'd expect them to have on board?
No, these are actual hyperbaric oxygen therapy units. Yeah, but you could actually treat somebody for the bends in it if you wanted to, just on air. You wouldn't have to have them on oxygen; just have them on air. You'd be able to take them down to 20 meters comfortably in one of those, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a thing.
Is buying oxygen expensive?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So this is what I was sort of saying about buying a system like this, is that there's a lot of capital outlay. So if you're thinking about maybe enjoying the benefits of having oxygen therapy, it would be best to go to somebody that's actually got one, and have some treatments and see how that goes for you, and see if you can cope with the pressure and the changes of things that are going on in relation to that. And if you then find that you need long-term treatments, you'll be able to then maybe find the benefit of actually owning one, and then having oxygen delivered. You got to run air compressors and stuff like that as well with the proper sort of air treatment in them. Yeah. So
I'm sure you've got an ingenious method of hooking them up to solar, don't you? I was being facetious.
No, probably not. So this isn't a very good photo, but that's an inflatable one. So you can buy these ones online as well. These are quite good for home use. So probably this is like the bottom end way of getting into a chamber, if you like.
And this is for basic sports medicine sort of use, do you think?
Yeah, this is like what you'll find the supercars people and that would have in their vehicles. So they can roll these out and throw a drive around for an hour or something if they had to. It's got a little compressor on the side there. Some of them have oxygen generators, actually make their own oxygen. If that's what suits you, that's a way of doing it as well. But but there's all sorts of things you need to manage with use of oxygen, obviously, with increases the risk of fire and all that type of stuff. So you need to manage all the protocols related to that type of thing. So you need to be very careful. But you can certainly sit in there breathing pure air and get benefits. Not even worry about oxygen. So if you've got it at home, you'll be able to do it, sort of thing. So,
yes, it's the pressure side of it, getting the air and the oxygen into you from all aspects of it.
That's right. So it's all about increasing the pressure. Yeah.
For inflammation and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, bloody ideal.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to be claustrophobic.
No, but you could basically go up to something like this if you really wanted to spend some money. They really love spending some money over in some of the Arab countries.
No, really?
Oh yeah. There you go.
Oh my Lord.
That's a two-person chamber. with a lovely lounge chair inside it. It's probably got its own oxygen generator in it as well. Wouldn't get much change over $1 million there, I don't think.
Wow.
One of those ones, but that would be something you'd see in some of the high-end clinics in America and stuff like that. I'm guessing, or a very wealthy family in Dubai, maybe. But
Yes.
we see applications for veterinary as well for hyperbarics. I think we were talking about this earlier today with
Yeah.
there's a number of there's one particular location here in Brisbane that have one of those high-ox chambers, that one looks like the airplane cockpit, where they put dogs and cats and stuff in after having cancer operations where they've had their tumours removed. And they use it to prevent dieback on the skin grafts, so they reduce the loss of the graft by 50% by having oxygen therapy. And they throw the dog or the cat in the chamber, and they just lie there and they love it. They just go to sleep, and they have tremendous success with it. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, right.
We were talking earlier
Awesome.
about sorry.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, horses that in Saudi Arabia, they have hyperbaric chambers for their race horses. So when they get them back after a race, they throw the horse in there and give them hyperbaric treatment for the animals.
Well, because the air conditioned stable and the ice cold swimming pool aren't enough for the horses. The hyperbaric chamber is clearly what's required.
That's 100%. They even have some of the really wealthy ones have their own like multi-place chamber in their homes, and they just invite all the friends over and have a session in the chamber. You know, so that's filthy rich.
Well, they're not allowed to drink, and who'd want a sauna in Saudi Arabia? So I guess you can all go into your hyperbaric chamber and whip yourself with a local birch branch or something, whatever works.
Yeah, well, that's a thing too, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just to give you an idea, this is the sort of stuff that we do. Typically, is that we set up.
That looks very uncomfortable to lie down in, Alan. Very uncomfortable.
Well, they're the oxygen manifolds that we install for these chambers. That's what we do. We set up the backup systems for these things and get a lot of exposure to this sort of stuff. There's a couple of really good books out on the stuff, but I basically, I'm a fitter and turner by trade, but I'm a licensed gas fitter. I'm also a licensed medical gas installer as well. So we've done that for about 20 or 30 years. So this is where we've had involvement with these things. So all across Australia, throughout Australia, for working for all the major gas companies and stuff like that. So we have an understanding of what's required to make these things work. So basically did the hyperbaric technicians course a couple of years ago, which was a 5-day course on how to actually treat people in the chamber. So I can actually treat a person in a chamber. I'm licensed to do that. But I felt there was a need to do it, not so much to treat people, but to understand what the system's required. It's a bit like having a mechanic work on your car that's never ever driven a car. You know what I mean? So hyperbaric technician working on your hyperbaric system actually knows what the chamber how it needs to perform. So we did that course. That was the reason behind that. So we hold that certificate. So
and clearly,
meet some beautiful people.
Clearly, your experience with it has been very positive because you've had other family members utilize it, particularly for things like endometriosis.
Yes, yeah. Anything inflammatory will benefit massively from it at any stage, not early, at any stage. Like if you've currently had problems with something for years, I strongly suggest you have a talk to your doctor, and you'll find. You'll be amazed, actually. You'll find Connie and I were talking to a specialist just recently who was we thought would be very anti-hyperbaric, and he was all over it. He loved the idea and was very keen on learning more, and it was very refreshing. A younger professional, who was quite on board with the whole thing and understood it quite in great detail, which is very, very refreshing to hear. So broach it with your clinician or your doctor or whoever's looking after you, and you'll probably find that they may offer it as an option for your particular need. So but always be guided by your doctor.
Yes, always be guided by your doctor. We don't do medical advice. We just bring up interesting things to talk about on a Friday night. And before I let you go, I've got to commend you on your choice of dress this evening, Alan.
Oh yes.
You've got your Voice of Freedom wind cheater on. I've got
Yeah.
mine on, and
Yeah.
Vincenzo's wearing his. None of us organised this at all, but thank you very much for your support. You and Connie supporting the show in a variety of ways, and merch being one of them. So thank you, Vince, for sharing your left breast with us quietly. Thank you, mate. And just give us a bit of a review on the quality of the merch, if you would.
It's very nice. Yes, I'm actually sweating here. I've got to take it off in a minute. It's very warm.
Yeah,
Good fit.
Yeah, it's a great Southerners wind cheater, this one. Not so flash for Queenslanders, even in winter. Although I can tell you...
Be a good fishing wind cheater, I reckon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In all fairness, though, the new wind cheaters we don't know about, because this was from our older stock from our supplier here locally.
Yeah.
So the new wind cheaters that you can purchase, which now get delivered directly, so you're not waiting for hours or years from me to deliver them. They're there on our merch store. So I'll take that opportunity to promote merch at VOF HQ. Go and check out the new wind cheaters. There's 2 different sets of designs, one with an FBN back and one with the Voice of Freedom back. And buy them and tell us what you think, because I'd really like to know.
I like the everything's really double stitched on them. They're not sort of, you don't have that loose sort of bits of material hanging out everywhere. Everything's been sort of stitched off properly.
I haven't had a loose thread. You know how you get that one little bit of cotton, and back in the day you used to be able to wrap that bit of cotton around your finger and snap it off, and these days if you do it, it unravels half your garment. Oh, look at you. There's a cartoon character that looks like that.
Hang on. What are we doing this?
Maybe that's for me. I was going to say off South Bank. Who killed Kenny? You know?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, now you missed me hair. I had a haircut today too. It was terrible.
Yeah. Well, gee, I bet that took you a while. You stood in line longer than it took to get done, I'm sure. Very good. Alan, thanks for joining us on a Friday night. Please give love to Connie and the rest of the family. Thank you for Thomas for joining us, mate. Good to have you, and lovely to have you as an alarm for the show when it goes off.
Just one other thing. There's this book if anybody's interested, if they want to have a look at it. It's by
Oxygen Under Pressure.
Oxygen Under Pressure by Dr. Jason Sonos. There's his from the International Bureau of Undersea Medicine. He's written a whole book on the different questions that people might have about oxygen therapy and hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So yeah, it's a definitely get it. So I'm sure it's available at most good bookstores. But
or as people do it these days, they just go to Amazon and wait for it to turn up. Buy the hard copy if they can. So yeah, mate, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you and Connie again in the very near future, I am sure.
Thank you all.
In fact, is there a chance we might see you next weekend at the Sundowner on Saturday for lunch? Well, there would have been, except he's gone. Somebody kicked him, or he kicked himself. Oh well. Alan and Connie may well be there for lunch next Saturday. Where? I hear you say. If you missed the front of the show, the Sundowner is at Caboolture, the Bribie Island Caboolture turnoff, if you like. So about 50 k's north of Brisbane, about 50 k's south of the Sunshine Coast. Nice little halfway point, and we'll aim for a 12:30 sit down for lunch. So I'll probably be there a little bit earlier than that, and I know the big Clayton Bear will probably be with me, and whoever else needs a ride up out of Brisbane. If you need a ride up out of Brisbane and you're somewhere between, well, if you're somewhere between Browns Plains and Caboolture on that road that goes around that way over the bridge, I'm happy enough to pull up and pick you up. We'll have a couple of spare seats so we can sort you out and get you home again if you'd like to come and have lunch with Watha. We'll celebrate his foot amongst other things, and who knows, we may even get a tune out of him. That's all you're getting out of me. I'm not showing off tonight. So I got a couple of interesting things to bring to your attention. Now, Vince, we know One Nation are leading the country at the moment, with just about every poll suggesting that One Nation are going to ride that tsunami to a bit of a landslide at the next election. We'll have to wait and see. It's 2 years away. However, the Philippines have just introduced a new policy, which I think One Nation, if they were to adopt, would get a great deal of support as well, proposing to execute corrupt politicians by firing squad for stealing public funds. Now, that isn't a joke, folks. You might remember that the Filipino president some years ago said to his people, I'm sick and tired of the drugs in this country. I'm sick and tired of our people being dragged down by drugs. So right now, there is a bounty on drug dealers. Kill them. And all of a sudden, anybody can kill a drug dealer with impunity. And a lot of people got even. No, these people, essentially they had to be a known drug dealer or got caught dealing or whatever. But yeah, I've forgotten the name of the president, but that happened. And they're very, very happy knocking people off left and right. Now, some people might have heard of this country and Western woman called Carrie Underwood. She's a singer, but apparently she's being banned on the world right now because she suggested that children should not be exposed to cartoons featuring LGBTQ themes. She argued that kids should be raised in a traditional way and that adults should simply let kids be kids. Well, now they have started the campaign against her, and I believe she's quite a good country music singer, quite a successful one. She probably doesn't need to keep working if she's that successful. However, the cancel culture has to stop. These mice with the voice of lions have to be shown for what they are, weak, pizzling little pieces of shit. However, when we're being led by even weaker pieces of pizzling shit, that's not going to help. In fact, Albo will be welcoming back a new cohort of ISIS brides. Some suspect that they will be arriving as early as next Tuesday. They've left the Syrian shithole that they were in a bus heading for Damascus, and no doubt that Muslim doctor from Sydney will be facilitating the delivery of the passports he has for them so that they can get back here to Australia, where Albo, of course, will be standing ready and waiting to welcome them with open arms. And
Gotta love AI, don't you? Unbelievable.
Yeah. And if he tells you he's not going to do it, he's a liar.
Yeah.
All right. Just
question
remember,
for you.
he's a liar. Yes.
Question for you. John Williamson, didn't he sing the song True Blue?
He wrote the song True Blue. Hey, True Blue.
That's the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
He also has now come out having a full-on shot at Pauline Hanson. One has to ask the question, is his song really about the True Blue Aussie? Because he's certainly not spouting it now.
I think John might be showing you his true colours. You see, John signed the music contract back in 19.
By the way.
He signed his soul away in, I want to say, 1972 or 3 with Timey Kangaroo Down Sport. No. Was that him? No, that was Rolf Harris.
Yeah.
What was the one that he did? Old Man Emu. He did Old Man Emu. So he signed his life away then and has been riding the wave ever since, and would ordinarily, and I'm pretty sure has come out and supported Pauline previously at various different times. But these singer-songwriters who believe that they have ownership of their music once they release it to the public, the reason that people like songs isn't necessarily because of the words you wrote to them or the sentiment that you put into it when you conceived and wrote the song. People like music for their own reasons, because that song draws visions of their own lives to them, and they can put themselves in the same position as the vocals are singing about, that kind of thing. It creates an emotive link that is separate and very distinct to the songwriter's link to the song. And to claim ownership of it in any meaningful way is just petty fuckery as far as I'm concerned. But John Williamson now is in his mid-70s, nearly 80, I think, and he will be doing very limited touring. He hasn't needed to tour since that True Blue album went, I think it went whatever six times platinum was. It was absolutely huge. And he's had a few other little bits and pieces, minor successes internationally as well. He does get some really nice royalties because they use a lot of his music in television and video presentations, particularly True Blue. And this might be where he's thinking he has to protect his income there somewhere, somehow. Look, if he comes, as you say, has come out and told Pauline, you can't use my song, it's like John Farnham saying you can't use You're the Voice. Well,
no, it
piss
was
off.
about multiculturalism. It's about
right.
having a shot at One Nation because they're trying to slow down this massive influx of immigrants, the mass migration.
Then it just goes to show John Williamson doesn't need to deal with the massive influx of individuals coming into this country because John has a beautiful place in the Blue Mountains that on acreage. He doesn't get disturbed by these people unless he runs into them at the local shops. John lives a very, very comfortable and successful lifestyle. John doesn't want for anything at all in this world. John has had the best of the music industry and is living off the profits that you and I gave him by the love we had for his music. So John should be grateful that the Australian public do still embrace a song that's got to be 30 years old. And if he is so arrogant to believe that by him saying, oh, look, I don't like Pauline using it, and she'll probably stop using it just so the argument doesn't keep going. But it's a pathetic piece of bullshit from a performer who is not relevant in any real sense anymore, and a sad indictment of the egos involved in the Liberal and Labor parties and the Masonic filth that propagate it all.
I'm not sure that they're actually using the song, but he's just using his fame to spout out his particular belief. And what I find most incredulous about this whole thing is that he built his name, he built his music on the ocharism of the Australian community.
Yep.
And now he's going directly against it. I just find that very, very hypocritical. That's just my opinion, just in case he wants to sue me for defamatory comments. Because that seems to be the rage nowadays.
I'd like to know whether or not Perneet from the Punjab needs us to sit down and explain what the Cootamundra wattle is.
That'd be interesting. Probably.
You know, I mean, his songs don't get too much more Australian, but he clearly doesn't want to sell any more music because this is the fastest way to turn a very large portion of Australia, whether they were his audience previously or not, against him. I think it's a very stupid thing done by a very silly old man who has bowed to the pressures that maybe that contract he signed 50 or 60 years ago are exerting upon him.
Yeah, remember your culture, fella. Remember your culture. All right.
And remember what Australians do to Aussies who forget their culture and try to lecture us. It does not go well. One of the things that I am really encouraged to find out in Victoria at the moment, and we won't keep everybody up much longer on a Friday night, but one of the things I am really encouraged and quite surprised to see happening in Victoria in regional areas at the moment, signs like this are popping up all over the place. Now, if the uni parties aren't getting the message yet, well, what are you going to do? Take a drive around Victoria. This is but one. I'm told there are many of these sorts of signs up, and they've had enough. They are walking. Give your preference votes to One Nation. Otherwise, you will join the fuckwits of South Australia. I think this is a fabulous, fabulous campaign happening grassroots throughout Victoria. So that is a campaign that could spread right across this nation. Can you imagine, rather than One Nation candidates having to go and beg for space in people's front yards to put their placards up at election time, that people of their own volition start erecting things like that in their front yard well before the election?
They
You
already
know,
did that in
giving-
South Australia.
Yep, start
There
giving
was
fair
no,
warning.
there was no hassles about getting the One Nation banner put out in your front yard, because of course in South Australia it has to be on private property because of the laws. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
already happened.
Yeah. Well, I know there's plenty of people who very happy to put these sorts of things up on their own private property and bugger the world. That same in Queensland. In election time, you are allowed to put the placards up on the side of the road. But as we found out with Cass last time, I think Dwayne and I went and put 20 of those in around the scenic rim. We had a bunch of people living on the property who were arrogant little horrible pricks who drove around after us and tore most of them down and did a little singing and dancing on there and whinged and cried. They got very upset when I put them all up again the next day and then put a video camera on them just to make sure that I knew who was tearing them down. Not very smart. But and then a simple phone call to that perpetrator that said, I didn't make the phone call. I wouldn't have been as polite. But the phone call went along the lines of, stop tearing these things down. The bloke who's taken the video footage of you tearing them down wants to take it to the AEC straight away and have you charged. So
Yep. Big fine.
it's a huge fine. So very motivated to do that sort of shit to dickheads. And anyway, he proved he was still a dickhead, but we didn't take him to court. Should have.
Well,
anyway.
just one thing to remember.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, put that up. What was that said? Put it up. Put it up.
This is Pauline's got a new idea about what to do with the statue when One Nation gets elected into Victorian Parliament. They're going to take it to a special museum of underwater art in Antarctica. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Like
would have
that
thought they could have dropped it in Port Phillip Bay and given a little bit of structure for the scallops to grow around again and the prawns. Or they could drop this in there, although they probably couldn't, because after the suggestion the other night that this could become a public toilet where, as you felt the urge, you could come and drop a turd through the windscreen and have it on Dan's lap. That has proven to be a very, very successful suggestion. And a lot of people want to try that out. So if that one ever gets built and gets dropped into Port Phillip Bay, there'll be a sewerage issue in the bay rather than anything else.
Yes. No, we don't want to damage the ecology. So
no, Dan Andrews even more full of shit than normal. And I guess before I say goodbye, I'm going to give you all something to think about.
We have a community notice. What's this? Please get a skin check-up, you guys. Just had 2 skin cancers taken out 1 day ago. Oh, okay. Heads up on the early catch. I have had these wonderful little marks and stuff that side all checked out. I'm good as far as that. I do, however, need to hydrate my skin some more. So thank you.
I am due for another skin check. I don't know if you can see. Somewhere here I've got a rather dark kind of spotty thing.
Yep.
That's half of a bad thing. I went and had it biopsied. I think it was 2 years ago, and they took half of it. And then they said, oh, you better come back. It's nothing serious, but you better come back and have the rest of it taken out. And they wanted to charge me $500 to take out the other half. And it was $500. It was just a bit rich for me. And so I still own it at the moment. It does appear to be darker, but that could have something to do with that black stuff that I put on it maybe a year ago. And didn't quite kill it, but did manage to change its color. I guess I got away lightly. Speaking of getting away lightly, people asked me the other day about Guru and his court case. Now, his defamation court case, he lost, and a judgment was handed down against him last Tuesday. That judgment amount was $325,000 plus costs. Wow. So, that's a bit nasty. $80,000 of that was awarded to the victim on top of what the ordinarily payment would have been, 200 and whatever it was, $80,000 was because of the disrespect that Dave showed the guy when he cross-examined him. So I didn't realize that the quality of your fine was based, or the severity of your fine was based on the quality of your cross-examination. That in itself would lead me to believe that there is an avenue of appeal that I'm sure Dave and Mel will be following. In fact, they will be following every avenue of appeal, and they may well have a case for that going forward. But it will be an expensive case going forward. And I don't believe that Dave and Mel used a lawyer. They had a pro bono lawyer that was working with them in the first part of this case, and then a week out from it, they basically said, you've got to plead guilty or you're going to lose, and we can't represent you if you're going to lose. So they went their separate ways. Dave couldn't get an adjournment because of lack of lawyer or on medical grounds, so wound up representing himself, and the result is as it is, a loss to the tune of $325,000 plus costs. But as he said, you can't get blood out of a stone, and it hasn't stopped him doing Twitter Spaces. So all luck, all power, and whatever going forward. But yeah, you have to be careful about what people say when they come on your show, and sometimes that's why radio stations run a 7-second delay, folks. It's not just in case somebody swears. That is always the reason it's given. But the delay is there because if you go into a territory or you say something about someone, Joe Bloggs murdered, Missy Blue, you can't say that on the radio. You can't say, Vince Panel murdered Carl Liebold on the radio.
Not
unless
yet,
you
still
have
trying.
unless you have proof of it. So that's called defamation. And
It's actually called murder, but that's a separate thing.
very true. Anyway, enough of defamation, enough of murder, and enough of Guru. He's on the hunt. He's been appearing on a couple of shows recently, apparently. So good luck to him. I hope he's recovering. So that's all we can hope for. And speaking of that, something to share us on the way out. Here's an interesting picture that was sent to me during the week. The Prime Minister and Mrs. Whitlam attended the annual Italian National Ball held at the Wentworth Hotel this evening. Mr. Whitlam is pictured in his arrival, accompanied by Mrs. Pino Bosi, the wife of the representative of the Australian Italian community. I'm guessing that might be Ricardo's mum.
Don't know.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not suggesting there's anything there. Whitlam was seen on the arm of many beautiful women. Have you seen Margaret? That's awful. I shouldn't say that. But go and have a look at a picture of Margaret. You'd understand. On that note, we've run well over time tonight and trying to make up for a bit for my sleep in the couple of nights ago. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Are you doing anything wild and outrageous, Vincenzo?
Yes, I've got to add some more data storage to my server here, which involves shutting the whole house down so that it's going to make 4 kids very unhappy. No internet.
Yeah.
So outside of that, no, not really. Just thinking up more questions for my question of the day, that sort of thing. Outside of
Very
that,
good.
the most obvious thing that I have to do now, besides promote our merch, which is at merch.vofhq, please buy, please help support us, right? Like and subscribe to this channel. The only other part that left is this. Bye.
See you, buddy. He's putting himself off these days. God. Don't know, clicking the button when I need to get rid of him, when I bring him on. Taking liberties, I say.
Really?
See? Liberties. All right. Love you, folks. Have a bloody great weekend. If you are heading out and about, then do it safely. Do it with a smile on your face. And if you can help somebody else, then please go ahead and do it. Even and I mean this without my tongue planted firmly in my cheek in any way, shape, or form, but even if they are a dickhead, and I'm going to have to get Vince to push the closer because my screen's frozen up. So have yourself a great one, folks, and we'll see you later. Hooroo. And I'll smile until the thing comes on. Now another one.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!